In response to the ongoing opioid epidemic in Connecticut, more and more police and fire departments are carrying the opiate reversing drug Narcan. The point has been raised that addicts get Narcan for free when the anti-allergy drug EpiPen, for example, is so expensive. What's your opinion on the use of Narcan, and is it a bandage instead of a solution?
It's part of a solution that deals with the kind of services that people need who are sick, and that's exactly what we're seeing in this society. With the kind of economy that we have, the loss of opportunities for the middle class, for the working families, it's not surprising that people are turning to substance abuse as a mechanism to deal with that. We need to deal with that in a variety of different ways, using a variety of different tools. That said, the pharmaceutical industry is out of control. The lack of pre-authorization, authorization, and price controls have left, again, the middle class dangling in the wind, and insurance prices going up. So I would say that the first step is to bring back some of the regulations and protections that we had on pharmaceutical costs, to add to those, and to recognize that mental health is as important as physical health and needs to be treated truly on parity instead of just word of mouth, where we say that we'll treat mental health the way that we treat physical health, but we don't in the policies that are available to people.
Mr. Reale?
What you see with the opioid epidemic is the barbaric result of Democrats fighting a war against people that are high and losing repeatedly for decades. This is a medical problem and a spiritual problem. We should go ahead and honor the 10th Amendment and say, you know what, this is not the business of Congress. And instead, we should take the approach of, say, Portugal, many cities in Switzerland, where, you know, we can't get people help if we throw them in a cage. And by the way, around the world, and this, you know, we are the exception. Your average person doing heroin is only going to do it for about 12 years, and then it's going to end. Unfortunately, because it is on the black market, a lot of people die. You have no dose monitoring, you have no dose consistency, and we really need to seriously reevaluate this and take a serious look at Portugal.
Representative Courtney.
So Narcan obviously is a life-saving substance that first responders that I've talked to personally have literally brought people back to life, and it clearly needs to be a tool that's available, but by itself it's not enough, clearly. And what I think looking at ways to sort of bolster resources so people recover as addicts, the medication-assisted therapy, which is showing encouraging results with community-based follow-up treatment, was part of the Community Addiction Recovery Act, which President Obama signed in July. That I was one of the conferees on that final bill. It was not the final word on solving this problem, but it did open the door to nurse practitioners and physician assistants to be able to prescribe that medication-assisted therapy. And the folks who are in the treatment community in this region were very pleased that that provision of the law was put in there. But we need to go back upstream and talk about ways that the healthcare system takes care of pain management, and we need to get sort of off the opioid basis. By the way, medical marijuana is showing very encouraging results in terms of relieving pain without, again, using opioid as a substance.
Thank you. Ms. Novak.
I was one of those first responders. I have been an EMT for most of my life, volunteer firefighter, and I was out there actually on the streets, and I was literally bringing in these people to the hospital. But you know what, it's not just about using Narcan, which is very useful, but it's about the idea of what is the core problem behind this. And I don't believe that just throwing government programs at drug rehab is going to work. We need to really get to the core and find out what some of the issues are in our society. When you have high unemployment, when you have fatherless households, when you have minorities in cities like New London, where we see almost 50% unemployment among minorities, we have a bigger problem. Drugs are the result, but that's not going to solve the problem just saying, okay, we're going to put them through a rehab. We need to go back and solve our society's problems. We need people that are going to have good jobs so that they have something to lose, so that they have a family or a job to lose if they go on drugs. Right now, what do these people have? It's just not right what we're doing.
Just to follow up to that, and you can correct me, it seemed to be some suggestion of a connection between unemployment, poverty, and the opioid crisis, yet the numbers we're seeing, the statistics seem to be that it crosses all demographic lines. So if you could kind of clarify sort of the point you're making as the correlation with the opioid crisis?
We're seeing the particular type of epidemic is across all economic sites. We see it in nice towns and in places where there is poverty. But in general, you're seeing heavier drug usage in cities in many cases where we see people that are out of desperation seeking some type of solace. I think what we need to do is not say we just need rehab programs, which we need, but we need to go back to solve the core problems.
All right, thank you. Mr. Reale, looks like
I just want to add quickly, it would be very nice if our troops in Afghanistan would stop guarding the opium fields. That would be great.
You're in Congress, Representative Courtney. Could you care to comment on our soldiers guarding the opium fields?
Again, I've been to Afghanistan 4 times actually, and I don't see them patrolling opium fields when I was over there.
All right, let's go to the next question. It's to you, Mr. Reale. Your chance to take the question.